you please welcome, making his way to the red corner from Gloucester, England, Matt the Hardest Ewin!
So making his way to the cage, one of the most recognisable names in British MMA, Pierre. 22 wins, 11 losses, and obviously his most recent comeback has been his last 4 fights, which has seen a 2-2 ratio, 2 wins, 2 losses. The worrying thing for me, though, with such a great fighter, is the last 2 fights have been the losses, including the most recent to John Phillips. I mean, he's fought virtually everyone there is to fight at domestic level here, all the names, and beat, obviously, the UFC veteran Ivan Salaveri that we were here for at BAMMA 6. But you have to say, at 39 years of age with this comeback, just how much is left in the tank?
Well, I have to agree with you. Unfortunately, his last fight with Johnny Phillips, which I actually attended, he was winning. He took him down. Immediately, Johnny Phillips went to half guard. However, somewhere in that transition from the takedown to actually going down to the mat, he pulled something in his groin. So he tapped out verbally from top position. And that all has to do with, like I said once before, age comes for us all, and it may be evident here with Matt Ewin. However, saying that, he trains like an animal, okay? And you will see the best Matt Ewin here tonight. And I think, you know, barring age, he may walk away with the win. But we have to wait and see, because he's got a hard and rough and ready customer here tonight at BAMMA 9.
That's right. One of the things you can't take away, though, as we discussed, is age comes to us all, but there's also that vast level of experience you can draw on to slow that process.
And it's all about training smart. And with a camp like Trojan Free Fight, they're doing the right things to ensure that the best Matt Ewin shows up for these events.
And now, making his way to the blue corner from Blackpool in England, ladies and gentlemen, Leeroy Barnes!
Now, Pierre, I think it's fair to say Leeroy Barnes really polarizes opinion when you see on the forums. We've got a lad here, 9-9. His most recent fight we saw was BAMMA 8, the war with Jack Marshman. He lost it on decision, but in a way it was a moral victory. He stood and traded with such a vicious puncher and was constantly in the fight. So he answered questions about his chin, his stand-up, his heart. But, especially for a man that's known as a submission man, but previously in BAMMA as well, he lost to Monson Bahari. But in between these 2 BAMMAs, he's on a 3-fight winning streak. The more you look at this man, the more questions are asked. You can see why the forums are always buzzing with the name Leeroy Barnes.
I've totally flip-flopped on this fighter. He really impressed me with his chin and just, again, composure. He was, you know, in his face. Marshman, was in his face for the whole 3 rounds, but yet couldn't put him away. So there's no question about this gentleman's heart, and he's got the athleticism. Now, we just need to find what that missing piece in his game is, because I believe that this kid can go very far. You just have to answer, what is that question mark?
Well, you mentioned kid. We look at the statistics here. 39 Matt Ewin, 26 Leeroy Barnes. So there's plenty of time ahead of him, as you said, to grow. Already 18 fights at that age. And as you said, superb physical specimen. I thought the only problem with this fight with Marshman was he did everything right, except he was just second best at Marshman's own game and didn't change that game.
I believe we talked about this prior to this evening. He had a game plan. I don't know if he followed it, because I would have taken him to the ground right away.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, in association with GoDaddy.com and Lonsdale, and live from the National Indoor Arena here in Birmingham. This is BAMMA 9. Time now for a middleweight contest featuring 3 5-minute rounds of MMA action. Our referee is the 3rd man in the cage, introducing Mark Goddard. Now time to meet our fighters. Firstly, on my left this evening, fighting out of the red corner, his official weight for this contest, 186 pounds. His fight record reads 22 victories with 11 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, from Gloucester, England, introducing Matt, the hardest Ewin. And across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, stands his opponent. On the scales, his official weight for this bout, 184 pounds, 5 ounces. His fight record reads 9 victories with 9 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing from Blackpool, England, Leeroy Barnes. This is a middleweight contest, 3 5-minute rounds of MMA action.
So many different ways this fight could go, Pierre. That's what on paper is so exciting about this one is we've seen that Barnes can now stand and trade, but we know his game's on the ground. We know all about Matt Ewin. You just wonder which way this really is going to go.
Because both guys have so many tools to work with, it could go any way. Now, Ewin's really going to have to tighten up on that takedown of defense because you saw that Leeroy was on the back foot, possibly looking to strike from there. He needs to set up the shot, close down the distance, and you could do that off a 1-2 punch combination, duck up and under, and go straight in.
And again, Barnes very sharp with that right hand as Ewin came forward. And again, heavy punching as we saw against Marshman.
Now look at this, that looks very deep. It looks like he did a jumping guillotine, and it looks really, really deep. However, saying that Matt Ewin has one arm in, guys, that was a little bit exciting.
Very fast, and as you mentioned, Barnes looking very athletic tonight, very quick on his feet, as we saw from those responses to the probing jabs from Ewing.
Now, I don't know if you noticed that, he took his arm out and went for the guillotine choke because he had one arm in, so he was trying to tighten that up. Now, though it looked impressive, it was very quick. If you don't catch the guillotine, what happens? You've got a Matt Ewin sitting in your guard, and that's not a good place to have Mr. Matt Ewin.
That's right, Barnes now having to work again.
Now he's climbing the leg up, containing the arm. Beautiful push through triangle right there. However, Ewin is going to have to really, that was close. 2 submission attempts by Leeroy Barnes. Both came very close. However, a very game and very skilled Matt Ewin able to get out of both.
That's right, and take his man down again. We said there's many ways this could go. This one is a real battle of wits at the moment because you said the 2 submission attempts, Ewing knowing what he keeps going for to take his man down.
But the good thing from Leeroy Barnes is he continuously throws up the submissions. He's not just sitting there allowing Matt Ewin to work position in his own submissions or even ground and pound. So he's staying active. However, he needs a little bit tighter, guillotine chokes, better setups, but saying that he is staying very active and is very dangerous.
That's right, Ewing now looking for that side control.
Now, both of these guys are from staple MMA gyms here in the UK. You have Leeroy Barnes out of Wolfslayer, and you have Matt Ewin out of Trojan Free Fighters. Both gyms sporting big names here in the MMA world.
And Ewin, to be fair, over a period of time has been one of those big names. As I said, everyone in the division at some time you've seen on his record here.
Well, Matt Ewin has one of my favorite fights here in the UK. His fight against Bouchalem out of France was one for the ages. I tell you what, it was a biblical proportions type of MMA fight. Ewin starting to throw the elbows. Now he's doing things very smart. He saw that Leeroy Barnes was putting up the guard. However, he decided to throw the elbows to the body. It shows that he's thinking through the course of this fight.
And it also shows that experience we've been talking about. 33 fights across his career. This is the 5th of his comeback.
Now Barnes is trying to throw up that knee shield. Matt Ewin still laying leather and it's finding the mark. Hammer fist. Ewin scooting out. Barnes scooting out. However, he has to be careful that he doesn't get his back. He's going to probably try to turn back into it.
And again, as you said, Ewing throwing leather accurately. in pursuit of that neck.
I'll tell you what, we question the age factor. Matt Ewin's showing no signs of aging here in the first.
No, he looked very focused when he came into the cage, and I think the balance of power.
Big suplex, belly to back suplex.
And that's proof. I was just about to say, I felt the balance of power has shifted with just under a minute left now in favor of Matt Ewin.
Barnes back to his feet, back control there by Ewin. Looking to do a possible Sakuraba-esque kind of Kimura key lock type hold.
And then just working the thigh now with the knee, Ewin.
Now he's looking to fall back. However, Ewin is very, very hip to his game and mounts him in the last couple seconds here in the first. Giving up his back is one Leeroy Barnes.
We're too late for Matt Ewing now. We're inside the last 10 seconds of this round, thankfully for him. But a sea change in that round, Pierre. All Leeroy Barnes at the beginning of the round, and then about halfway through, Ewin really took control.
Now, I want to go back to what I said about Leeroy Barnes. He's throwing up subs, and you know what? I don't think so much now that I think about it that it's just that he's not setting it in tight. It's just we have a lot of, fights and expertise by Matt Ewin, and he's just that one step ahead, able to pull out of those dangerous spots or those submissions thrown up by Leeroy Barnes.
Yes, so overall a pretty even round with Barnes strong at the beginning and looking sharp, and Ewing growing into the round and growing in stature as that round went on.
Both fighters getting instructions from their corners. Now, in their corners, what would you be saying to Leeroy Barnes?
To Leeroy, just how he started, he looked sharp, his movement was good. He doesn't want, he's seen now, I wouldn't want Matt Ewing tying me up like that anymore, because as you said, the important thing here is, in terms of thought on the ground, Ewing seems to be just that one step ahead. Keep it sharp, keep it quick, keep it moving.
And I would say keep it stand up. Now the Wolf Slayer representative is getting shouted instructions from his corner saying, you set the pace. There's no sense in him jogging at somebody else's pace if he can sprint. Now they're asking for punches with bunches.
Working his man down, but you've got to work when you've walked him down, because it's Ewing throwing out the short little jab and the front kicks.
Big, huge ball by Leeroy Barnes. Now, very good there by Leeroy Barnes. On the back foot, he's throwing shots. Hopefully, he's hoping that Ewing is going to walk onto one of those punches.
Yeah, I think he'd want to entice Ewing into a stand-up battle there, because once they hit the ground, Ewing was the authority. So I feel that this is a good tactic if you can get Matt to stay on his feet and start trading.
Now Leeroy Barnes has got to start putting that jab out there, start keeping something in Matt Ewing's face to keep him guessing as far as to what's going to come after that jab. Not only that, to keep the distance. Again,
he just threw a right hand with no setup. It was off balance. And that's the worst thing you can do against someone like Matt Ewing. You really have to set these up.
Now, how many times have we seen that tonight, though? Where the big shot leads to, breaking down the distance and a takedown for, the person not throwing the shot. It's happened about 2 or 3 times.
That's right, and you've got to learn from it. You knew what Matt Ewing was trying to do there, but it's worked against him.
Now let's see if Leeroy Barnes can get some shots in of his own. Big shots there by Leeroy Barnes.
And as you heard from Wolfslayer, he's got time. They said it's your time, Leroy, and he's got plenty of it in this round.
Well, we're still in the beginnings of the second round, so again, they are correct, Very important for your corner to be shouting things like that. Don't rush it. Now look at this underhook there by Matt Ewing, trying to use the cage to get back to his feet. He's posted on that right arm, and he's trying to reverse the takedown.
There's that experience. Beautiful movement there from Matt Ewing.
Sinking down for a double leg, using that shoulder to really pin Leeroy Barnes up against that cage. Leeroy turning out to the side, getting an overhook of his own. However, opted for that short little dig to the ribs.
And Matt taking him down again.
Now this is where Matt wants to be, as we saw earlier in the first round. He was very productive and got a lot for just a little bit, if you know what I mean, throwing them short little shots. paying dividends in the first.
And this will really also be the most experienced opponent Leeroy Barnes has had.
Because in his last bout, Marshman was always going to be a threat on the stand-up. However, I believe that if he would have been able to get him to the ground, it may have been a different story.
I think the thing that shocked me in that fight was he didn't try. He was happy in Marshman's comfort zone. And I think that was the biggest problem for him. The overall defeat came because he just wasn't quite as good at Marshman at what he was doing, and he didn't change it.
Well, we always teach in my gym, if the guy's good at boxing, take him down. If he's good at, wrestling or submissions, keep it stand-up. If he's good at both, then you throw your hat in the ring and hope for the best. Step over there by Matt Ewin. Another knee shield, however, release the knee shield, looking to pivot that leg out. He's got possible lockdown, looking to create some space. However, crossface there by Matt Ewin, forcing Leeroy Barnes back. He's got to be careful that he doesn't give up his back.
Yes, I think this is what Matt's working for. And again, the rounds follow the pattern. As the rounds gone on, it's the older man that has got stronger and more dominant.
Monkey roll there by Leeroy Barnes. But he's given up his neck.
Well, as you said, he's given up the neck to Matt Ewing, and he's got a minute to do something with it as this round counts out, second of 3.
Good control by Matt Ewing with that front headlock, possibly looking to go to take his back. Big knee.
Brings Barnes back up to his feet, but again, total domination as the round has gone on.
Now Ewing, look at the draw towards the end of the round, because that little flip there resulted with Leeroy Barnes in that side mount position. Leeroy right now, even if he can't, take it by submission, he really needs to rack up the points, because I believe Matt Ewing has done enough. Oh, and jumping immediately.
And he's got it straight away. Matt tapped straight away with 10 seconds left on the second round clock.
Now that had me with my mouth open, because it was the last couple seconds of the second round. Guys, MMA, that's why I love this sport. Anything can happen at any given time.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. After 4 minutes, 57 seconds of round number 2, our referee, Mark Goddard, stops the contest. A submission by way of guillotine choke. Therefore, our winner from the blue corner, ladies and gentlemen, from Blackpool, England,